I'm here today to give thanks to the 92 legal aid lawyers who give quality services to low-income and elderly Oregonians, to the dedicated staff members who support their work in countless ways, to the legion of volunteer lawyers in this room who fill the growing service gaps with their time and financial help, and to the many legal aid employees who in the past year have lost their jobs or had them curtailed due to funding cuts. By giving of yourselves so generously, each of you has contributed to the critical reservoir of trust and hope on which the rule of law depends for its life's blood. And what's encouraging to me as I look at your faces today is the steady determination of Oregon's legal community to step up with a helper's spirit to fill this breach. And when you consider that almost 800,000 people in a state of 3.5 million now qualify for legal aid services, a number that reflects about a 20% increase over the past 4 years, it's easy to see what's at stake. Now more than ever, the ranks of the poor are being filled with folks who just a few short years ago were pulling down family wage or higher incomes. The foreclosure rate in Oregon is the third highest in the nation, and we all know that because of depressed property values and high unemployment, a wave of Oregon homeowners are now income eligible for legal aid services and very much in need. But whether they're suffering from intergenerational or transitional poverty, these folks are our friends and they're our neighbors. And they understand at an intensely personal level just how poverty can eat at your soul, your self-esteem, and create a sense of helplessness. At least in our heads, if not from our own experience, we know the demoralizing lessons that poverty teaches, that success is the privilege of a fortunate few, that failure is inevitable, so why try? That a subsistence job doesn't pay in respect or a living wage, that the future is painful to imagine, so you might as well live for now, that police and the courts are unfriendly, even the enemy. They're out to get you. They should be avoided. That education is for other people, not for people like me, because school takes you away from your family and causes even more stress because you don't have the status symbols to belong. That health care is almost non-existent. Maybe you go to the ER if you're really sick, otherwise you share prescriptions, glasses, and remedies. That nutrition and exercise are words you don't use. They're for people who have too much time and money on their hands, because whatever's going to happen to your body will happen no matter what you do. And that life just happens. You have no power to change it. You just react. The life skills that you learn from poverty are also unique. You learn how to get by without garbage service and other utilities. You find out which stores will let you get food and pay later. And you figure out which churches and agencies have free clothes that don't have holes and stains in them. You learn how to fix your toothache with super glue, how to wash clothes without money, detergent, or a washing machine, how to wait for hours for health or social services in a waiting room filled with people who are hungry, homeless, sick, and desperate, and you get used to constant crisis. So why does the plight of these folks matter to us? Well, it's because ours is a constitutional system of government that guarantees equal access to justice to all people under the law. And it's because our freedoms are not based on status, race, wealth, gender, age, or other factors. It's because our system is complex, too often a maze. It's why lawyers are licensed to practice law. It's because from a judicial standpoint, the administration of justice is far better served when all sides are on an equal footing. Judges face an ethical dilemma when one side is well represented, the other isn't, and it's very difficult to achieve an even-handed outcome in those circumstances. It's because legal aid lawyers who have chosen to serve people who can't afford to pay fill an indispensable public function for all of us. They work to achieve justice on behalf of those whose well-being depends on fair treatment, but who have virtually no chance of receiving it without their assistance. And their work involves needs that are so fundamental access to food, shelter, basic medical care, and safety from domestic violence, that we ignore them at the peril of our own values. Because legal aid's role in Oregon is critical to our system of justice and the democratic principles on which it is built, even before the recession hit, legal aid programs could only meet 20% of the need for services. And over the past 4 years, we've seen a dramatic increase in the need as the social problems that go hand in hand with poverty threaten to overwhelm the capacity of the public justice system to respond. And finally, it's because it's only due to good fortune and in most cases pure dumb luck that we and those we care about most aren't among the poor ourselves. I know that some of you have been there for a time in your lives, and it is something you will never forget. These are hard times, and they're not over. But the institutions that have been built to support legal aid services throughout this state over the past 75 years and the people who serve them are more than up to the challenge. I'm humbled by the service of the dedicated attorneys, staff, and all the volunteer lawyers in this state who work for the cause of legal aid. They make tremendous personal sacrifices to do that work. They contribute to those who are poor and in need of their help. And they contribute to the rest of us in the community who benefit from their work, often without even knowing it. Everyone in this room contributes to the fulfillment of the ideals that our framers enshrined in the Constitution by helping people get on their feet. Oregon lawyers have no greater calling than to make the cause of equal justice flourish in courthouses and on the streets in every corner of Oregon. So pause for a moment to accept these sincere thanks. And then once more, with vigor, let's get back to work. Thanks a lot.
I wish you had spoken at the beginning of the campaign. Thank you, Judge Brewer.